made after half-time within the first 10 minutes to undermine you, and then basically you make changes and all of a sudden everything falls to pieces. And it looked really scruffy, really scruffy. They looked a mess at the end, United. And Ten Hag kept doing that a few weeks ago, where he kept changing the back players, changing the midfield, and all of a sudden you've got a completely different system, a completely different set of players on the pitch at the end of the game, and you can never get stability or consistency. I think there's just an element of what Tim's just said. Just leave the players on. They actually weren't playing that bad in the first half. Obviously, they were undermined by the set pieces in terms of the corners, but the football generally wasn't that bad. Then you allow two mistakes that were made after half-time within the first 10 minutes to undermine you, and then basically you make changes and all of a sudden everything falls to pieces. And it looked really scruffy. Really scruffy. They looked a mess at the end, United, with no real shape. I actually think, at least in the first half, they weren't brilliant, but at least they had a shape to them.
So on Monday morning, on the training ground, what's the first and most important thing he does?
I think I said this for Ten Hag for probably about 12 months. Pick an 11 that you think are the best.
But he doesn't know, does he?
I know, but I thought today the team, we all agreed before the game, even Lee on commentary and Peter discussed it before the game, we thought that 11 was probably, apart from Luke Shaw, as close to Manchester United's best 11 as you could get.
But then he changed 5 of them.
I know, I'm not saying don't make a substitution, but almost give that 11 the faith and trust. Maresca's doing it now at Chelsea. He's playing an 11 on a Sunday or a Saturday, and then he's playing a different 11 in midweek, and he's sending some messages to the players that there's stability here, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to play, and this is an idea that I believe in. When you change players all the time, you're almost saying to everybody, you know, you're just juggling plates, spinning plates all the time. There's no consistency or familiarity that can build with players. You need to build patterns together. You need to build that sort of idea of what you're doing together, and they can never do that if players are changing in all areas of the pitch.
You agree with that, Tim?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the one thing that sticks out for me is in 18 months' time, when I think United will start to be at their best, it won't look anything like this. So many of these players won't be there. And I look at, and I said something to you both off air, like something's crept into United, a few things, but this, we're playing from behind and you snatch at a cross and it was a good movement of play and you're pumping up the crowd and you're like, this isn't what Manchester, like I played with players at Manchester United that would have been embarrassed and they would have told me, we're losing the game. You don't pump up the crowd. You win the game and you walk off the pitch. And so there's been a lot of that with this they don't have yet.
No good team was ever a good team without hard work. Manchester United are 13th in the league, and their running stats, their distance covered is 16th in the league. You don't deserve anything if you're being outrun every single week.
And that's also interesting because the first game under Ruben Amorim, their running stats were pretty low, weren't they? I remember you saying, which just you'd have thought that it's first game, they'd run their hearts out.
It's to me, the worst thing that can be said about you is that basically you're not a hard-working player or you're not a hard-working team. And I think when I interviewed Ruben Amorim 3 weeks ago, he said the first thing that I want to change is the athleticism of the squad. He's basically saying they're not fit enough. They're not as fit as the other players in the league. They don't work as hard as the other players in the league. When Manchester United give the ball away, they don't sprint back with the same intensity as other players in the league that you watch. And it is really, I mean, it must be... The one thing that a fan wants to see going into a stadium is their players, if you like, caring and passionate for the shirt. They want to see them working as hard as they possibly can. And they'll forgive a lot of other things. They'll forgive mistakes. But you don't get that from United. You get the poor quality. You get actually a team that is lethargic in the way in which they work. And it's not easy to like.